Goddamn. Welcome to Comic Con. What's going on? There you go. Okay, well, I didn't know you were going to be an LP. Take it away, baby.
Oh, my God. We're live. It's Comic Con. And
what the hell?
I can tell you this. Shenanigans are we can see crew enjoying their Baltimore. We're going to run down the panel one, and I'm going to introduce everyone. Everyone can say a few. My co-host tonight, Gene Paul Ace Peter. We'll start with Gene. Gene, man, what the hell's going on?
Hello. How's it going?
How's it going? Oh, very good, brother, man. Look at these guys, man. Aren't you envious? Don't you wish you were down there?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Well, I don't know. Be able to hang out with anybody from YouTube would be fun. So I like it. Sounds
I'm just watching this party going down, Gina, and I just think that the Canadians are in the house tonight. We would have a good time down there, man.
We would. Niagara Comic Con is ours. That's our big one.
Gene Paul Ace Peter in the house. Also joining us tonight, he had 80 viewers on his last broadcast right before we went on. We have Comics with Bueller, man.
How's it going, everybody? It's awesome to be here. I'm excited to be with everybody on the panel tonight. We got a stacked panel, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I got a new microphone, so I don't sound as horrible as I normally do. And let's get the show rolling.
We're joined by the great one, and I don't mean The Rock. Legend, what's going on?
Man, it is good to be live tonight on the Comic Con. Doing good in the neighborhood, my friends.
So, great Legend, I have a mission for you tonight. Should you choose to accept it?
I have a mission for you.
Oh, well, you know what? You give me a mission, I'll give you a mission. But here's your mission.
Mute that video. I'm tired of hearing myself talk. I do sound sweet, but you gotta put it on mute.
Who, me?
Yeah, I hear echo.
Well, I mean, I can't mute and talk at the same time. It's not going to work. I don't have a headset.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, what you need, man?
I need you to look after the chat tonight, Rob.
Going old school, baby. Going old school. All right, let me break it down, man. We do have some people in the chat tonight. We got Grammy in there. We got Jason, Comics Mrs. Flame, Kakarot, Midwest Comic Man, AAC, All About Comics, JP, Tim Dunham. We got Robert Galvin. What's up, brother? Hope this is the place where Bueller is. Hey, Bueller is here. You're going to love it, man. We love our Bueller here. He's the best. 1983, man. 1983 made his first video looking good in the neighborhood. Showing the looks. We got TJ Watson. Steve Waterman, man. Steve Waterman. Ryan Spade, 227. Splash Page Comics. I know, man. I know Splash. You got to love it. Oh, man. Come on now, Splash. All right. So, yeah, man.
Good crowd in the house tonight. Everyone is excited. I'm excited for this next guy because he ordained me not that long ago. Baptized me. We have Pope Grimy.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on, brother? What's new?
Not much, man.
Just ready for the show. He is the comic presser that I will do business with anytime I need comics press. He's Paul West Comic Man, Paul Midwest Comic Man, Paul, one part of the Blasting and Stashie crew. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? Looks like they're having a good old time in Baltimore, and we're going to have a good old time here.
He's the other half of Comics and Cold Ones. JP, what's going on?
Oh man, what's up, man? I'm not straight out of country. I'm straight out my mama. I'm here to party.
I know what you're saying. Man, don't you wish you were down there, JP?
Oh shit, man! I'll be tearing Baltimore up.
I know, right? Next in line, C. Woodard, King of Tuesday Nights. What's going on?
Oh, just having another excellent Friday night. How's it going?
Dude, we're gonna rock it out, man. I'm excited because look at the very last group of people we need to get to here right now. I'm saving the best for last, but we have Chad, Spider Grandpa, Drew Manchu, Comics Mrs. Flame, Kakarot, man, and others. Boys, what's up? Wayne Joe, right? Okay, sorry, man. I'm still learning who he is, man. What's going on, guys? It looks like class down there. Tell me, man. Just what it's like to be all together and hanging out like that.
Oh my God, this has been amazing so far. We had a blast. Got to a ton of people. We stashed a lot.
I'm impressed.
Now, guys, I will try and get you to talk into the mic a little bit more so that people can hear you better.
Yeah, so we had a lot of we had a good time so far. We blasted a lot of stuff. We stashed a lot of stuff, and we even what's that thing you say? Shut your fucking mouth!
Shut your funko mouth, man. That's epic.
So,
guys, we're gonna have lots of questions for you tonight about who you talked to, who you met, some of the things you bought, any funny stories you have, including maybe a Lobo. I mean, who knows what just might crop up here tonight.
It's a love.
All right. Let's start though with let's get this out of the way, man. Let's do the picks of the week. And Bueller, I'm going to hit you up first, man. Tell me what you picked up this week, what you're into, what's going on with you this week in comics, man.
So let's just say this. So there's 2 weeks in a row. I'm going with a DC book for my pick of the week. You're welcome. But there's some really great books I got to read. A few. That stood out for me this week is the Heroes in Crisis #1. I really enjoyed this title. I don't want to give anything away, and that's really hard to do on a comic book. But it grabs you from the very beginning. It's devastating what happens to the characters in this book. It really is devastating, and it just gets worse from the very beginning to the very end. But this is by far my pick of the week, and if you're not getting this one, you should. It's a 1 in 9 issue series. I don't know if it's monthly or every other week. Hopefully it's I like monthly better because they put a little bit more time into the story, and they're not as rushed. So, but this one is really good. And then I got a few other ones that I liked, but that was my favorite. But I got the Spider-Geddon, #0. And I hate 0 issues. They don't make any sense. Who puts a 0 on a cover and calls that an issue? But that's what that is. And then I got the Stranger Things, #1 of 4. And I'm a big Stranger Things fan, but I wasn't too impressed with the book so far. But it is only a 4-part series, so hopefully it gets better. And I said this in my live stream earlier. This whole issue could be like 5 minutes in an episode, and that's about it. I mean, it doesn't really go anywhere. And I'm a fan, so I'm going to stick with it for the remaining issues. So those are my picks of the week. I don't think I bought any other books as far as like back issues and stuff. But I definitely will next week. So I'll let you guys know that.
Some epic picks there, man. I've heard a lot about that DC book you showed, about how kind of dark it is. And that might be something I might want to talk about later on the show. Because it is causing a couple of headlines to go about kind of the darker nature that DC seems to be taking. And hopefully maybe that's something we could touch upon a little later.
Yeah, most for sure. Because I was surprised. I didn't know anything about the title. I just saw my preview video that I did last week, and I was like, "Oh, that looks kind of interesting." And the cover grabs you, and I was pleasantly surprised. So by far, pick of the week, and I'm looking forward to talking about it a little bit more later.
Epic, great Legend show. Now I know that you probably are a little bit behind on comic pickups and stuff, but for you this week, what's it all about, brother? Anything going on?
Man, I've been playing the Four Shores content dropped yesterday, so I played some of that, and I need to look and see what kind of comics I missed out on reading. I do have some hardbacks, but I haven't started reading yet.
Okay. Well, let's go right over to the Pope, man. What's going on with the Pope? What's your picks of the week? What have you been checking out, brother?
I'm still waiting on some Midtown to come in. I'm excited to read the Justice League Odyssey, that new Justice League Dark. Apparently, Wonder Woman is going to be getting some new powers, and I'm also going to jump on the bandwagon with the Spider-Geddon, but I got the lead cover instead. But I'm also excited for things because I'm a big Stranger Things fan.
You know, the Stranger Things is something I want to talk about a little later too. It's, you know, a lot of properties, get made into comic books, but now we're talking about, like, you know, a TV show like Stranger Things coming into comics, when usually it's something like a comic book that becomes a TV show. So I'm wondering if the transition from one to the other is the same. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, they got like Buffy. There's like Star Trek. You know, there's a few comics.
Paul, Midwest Comic Man, what's going on, and what are your picks of the week, sir?
Well, of course, I haven't picked up any of my books yet, so I don't have a pick of the week, but I have a pickup of the week, and that is the Spider-Gwen #4 variant. Picked that up this week, and I love the cover.
Is that a Mark Brooks?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, nice.
That's a sweet-looking book, man. JP, have you been picking anything up? What's going on with you? Picks of the week, sir?
Oh, man, I don't necessarily have a picks of the week because I don't have an LCS, but the books I did get in, I'm looking forward to catching up on Venom. I got number 4 and 5 in this week, so excited for that. I think I'm one behind now, but that's okay. So with that being said, it's going to be a Venom kind of weekend for me. I got a 3-day weekend, so I'm going to catch up on some books, so it's going to be a good time.
And GPAP, what's going on, sir? My co-host tonight, by the way. I'm going to give him the reins here in a little bit while I go mix another drink. But GPAP, man, I know you've been doing some work at a shop down there. So you're seeing all kinds of new books. You're getting into new books lately. What have you been checking out, brother?
I mean, other than reading my Immortal Hulk, I'm still collecting on a budget. Still getting those True Believers. That's where it's at, man. You get quality reprints for $1. You can't go wrong with it. But I gotta agree. Yeah, exactly. Right. And Punisher came out this weekend, first appearance and stuff like that. So that was cool. But Stranger Things, #1, picked it up. Same reason. Enjoy the show. We'll see how it goes. This is a little mini series, something fun to hop onto. Nothing too serious. I was a little bummed out this week that Bongo Comics is apparently going to be taking a step back and retiring. We get the last issue of The Simpsons coming up, so a little bummed out about that. So they just can't keep up with what's going on with the guy.
Interesting. I didn't know they were going out. So last issue of The Simpsons, that might be something worth picking up.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're talking about a major pop culture reference. The Simpsons might be an important book to pick up, even if you're not a Simpsons fan or a collector. But Bongo is making some of the best comics, quality-wise. Not necessarily content, but quality-wise. Whoever's actually producing or publishing those books, the other two companies could learn something from it, so they don't have these fragile, interior covers.
C. Woodard, man, what's going on, brother? What are your picks of the week, sir?
Oh, what a sad week it was in DC. Lots of people dying and non-existent stuff. So I guess we're going to rant on this in a little bit according to Comics Misexplained in the chat. But I did read these. I'm ready to talk about them, but those are not my picks of the week. First off, my cover pick of the week, I go with the Josh Middleton Batgirl once again. Another out-of-the-park cover. Close second was Spider-Geddon Zero. Love Clayton Crane's art in this. But my pick of the week, Shanghai Red #4. Once again, this book continues to just be one of my favorites every single time it comes out.
That ain't no farmhand. That ain't no farmhand.
That was last week, man.
What's going on with all the...
But anyway, somebody likes. That goes back. Sorry, it's in my ear.
No, here, it's me. It's because.
Oh, there we go. Anyway.
Are you talking about farmhand?
Shanghai Red #4 legend. Oh, by the way, say hi to your cat behind you there.
That's no Sailor, man. Sailor's sailing the sea.
I put her right to sleep. Talking about Shanghai Red. But anyway, someone lights a book of matches, shoves it in the guy's mouth, and he gets his throat slit. So Shanghai Red #4, check it out. Those are my picks of the week.
Epic. So yeah, I'm a little bit lagging out here, and I'm on the road. I'm with my laptop, so that's why you're hearing a bit of an echo. And I'll switch over to GPAP, and he can run it for a little bit because he's the co-host. But I'll show you some of the things I picked up. I got Rick and Morty, Dungeons and Dragons #2 by Jim Zub and Troy Little. Troy Little's a good guy. He lives here in this neck of the woods, so definitely be able to get these signed. They're hilarious as hell. If you know Dungeons and Dragons and Rick and Morty, this is a great, perfect mix. A book I haven't read yet here is Gun Cats #1 from Action Lab. I picked that up. Also, lately I picked up Rags #1 from Antarctic Press, which I still have to read. I'll be reading that this weekend. And then we got Deja Thoris and Vampirilla #1, which just had a cool looking cover. So, you know, of course I had to pick that up. Great Legend Show. What is happening in the chat?
The chat is off the chain, man. Everyone's getting frisky. We got Brian Spaceboy in here. He's going old school. We got Jason Smith. JD loves what you're reading, C. Woodard, man. So, Mr. Legend, you gonna be doing auctions? No, that's gonna be the 6th of October. That'll be next Saturday night. What else we got going on? Oh, Grammy in the house, man. Man, sad about the last issue of Simpsons, GPEP. That's what old Puff was saying. Sad. I remember I bought issue 1 off the shelf because, of course, Fantastic Four #1 homage cover. It was sweet. But the chat's going good. Also, big shout out to our Prince of New Zealand, Kyle Walker. So, yeah, everyone's having fun in the chat tonight.
Nice.
Guys in Baltimore, let's hear from you, man.
All right, let's go ahead, and we're going to start off by talking about Heroes in Crisis.
Heroes in Crisis.
Harley Quinn was in the book, and it didn't suck. So that was a big surprise. We were very, very happily surprised with the fact that Harley Quinn didn't suck. It was really, really entertaining, and Tom King didn't screw us over on some Batman 50 nonsense. So on that note, Heroes in Crisis, bully for them and bully for all of you for enjoying it as well.
So we got to talk to Tom King, and we gave him high regards on the book. He said thank you, and hey, there you guys go. And he said that he is going to be bringing some Donny Cates to this book.
That means more deaths. That means that ain't just one Flash and one Arsenal are going to get deaded. They all going to get deaded. Everybody going to get deaded, and that's the way it's going to be.
And that is how it's going to be, thanks to Drew and Drew.
That was not fair.
Hey, is that on that bucket? Is that a duck?
A munis.
That's a goose.
That's a goose, man. That's Goose Island right there.
Is that a bucket of duck butter?
We got a bucket of duck butter.
Come on, man. The guys down there, man, you guys are rocking it out. I'm so jealous. Like I said, I want to be there so bad. I'm going to turn this over to GPAP, co-host of the night. GPAP, man, you got the reins while I make another drink.
All right. I just want to talk about the most recently thing that came out with Brian Azzarello charging $50 for his signature on the new Batman the Damned. Seems like people are going a little crazy about it. I'm kind of in the camp of an artist or creator can kind of dictate whatever prices they want to. Is not ruling out all books are $50. You can still get it. If you're an Azzarello fan, you can get a signature for $5. I think people are instantly kind of going to this and being upset by it. But when you take a step back, this is actually a big benefit for the fans because you won't have that, that flipper scalper in ahead of you with 10 copies getting it signed and a huge row of those trying to capitalize off them. So it's going to cut it down. And if you really do love that book and you want that book signed, it's going to cost you $50, and it's only going to apparently make the book more valuable. So it takes money to make money. So I'm seeing like hate come his way, and it was like, I saw one guy say, "Here's the real dick of Batman the Damned #1." I was like, I don't know about that. I think that's being a bit harsh.
Yeah, we've been at the con all day. I haven't seen Batman Damned at under $50 a book all day. It is not worth what people are paying for it. It's not worth what Azzarello wants to charge for signatures, in my opinion.
It was 150 he was charging for a signature of the Batman Dan.
dick.
Yeah. For the fact that Lee Bermejo drew some dicks up in it. And that is all I'm gonna say about Batman Winter Book. I'm on moratorium.
If you guys don't mind, I got to give a quick shout out to. Hey, slide down here. Yeah. So when you get to go to a con, what's cool about it is you get to actually meet some other YouTubers, and we met Anthony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anthony is from Real Comic Book Talk. If you guys can sub him up, new on the scene, awesome cat. You want a second to talk? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say thank all to everybody who subscribes right now. Real Comic Book Talk, man. We just 3 or 4 friends, usually 2 of us, sometimes all 4. We just talk about comics, comic book movies, TV shows, anything comics. You know, any requests, any debates that we have at home. We say, you know what? Let's stop talking. Put the camera on. We're gonna do it right there, and we talk about it all. That's why we at Baltimore Comic Con right now. Doing our thing, man. Living it up.
Sub it up.
Hey, so Real Comic Book Talk. Hey, this is Comics with Beeler. I've watched your show. I've really enjoyed it. I don't know. I've been in the chat a few times talking with you guys, and I've always enjoyed your show. You guys don't do it very often, do you?
Well, we got kids and different. Like we all got like jobs. So we try to every time we want to talk about something, like, all right, let's do it now. The problem is we got to find like somebody else who's going to record with us and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different schedules, but we're working. We're trying.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. You know, I think I've caught like 4 or 5 of your guys' shows, and like I said, you probably saw me in the chat a few times because I try to interact with you guys. But it's a lot of fun, so it's pretty cool to get a chance to actually talk to you in person, my friend, or kind of in person.
Oh, don't worry, I got my other guy. He's coming too, so we can talk.
Right on.
Yeah.
We got the legend. He puts your link as a sub.
Well, there you go.
GPAP, do you think this damn book is kind of like, remember back in the day, Superman 75 comes out, the next day it's like $50.
Yeah, you look at it, it's beautiful art, nice book, prestige format, looks great, it's popular. A lot of people overlooking the fact, though, the print run is super high on this. But if the demand is there, it doesn't matter how high the print run is. But it's kind of getting a bit crazy. It's a bit ridiculous. I mean, you definitely want to take a step back and be realistic with what you're going to pay for it, because it's not about dollars and stuff like that. If if something's worth 100 to you, it's worth 100 to you. Personally, when I look at it, and I've looked at a lot of comic books before, to me, it's a $20 book. Like, that's double cover what they originally charged. But going crazy for this, uncensored comic of, particularly because it's Batman. I mean, such a popular character and stuff. It's not the first time in comics. It's I mean, you go back and start collecting. Should Crumb books go up in value? All these kitchen sink books and things like that. It's it's a common thing. Garth Ennis and Fabry aren't. They've drawn lots of wangs before, so. I think it's just because it's Batman, and so once give it a year. People are like, next week they won't care. Well, maybe they will, and people will probably always like the art, and they'll follow, and we'll see how this Black Label develops. But overall, it has to go down in value. It doesn't hold on. There's no low print run. There's no anything really that's going to really, other than a hot topic and controversial. And I think DC played a smart move by doing this. I think it was a good power play. They pretty much null and void the return of Wolverine, just canceled it out. So good on them. They did a good job there, marketing. But on that, I mean, what the rest of you guys think about that? About the book?
Dude, I wish they wouldn't censor their shit. That's the whole entire point of the label, is to be like a mature label. So everyone expected the mature content, and yeah, it's funny. Batman has a dick. It's hilarious. No one's seen that shit really in a popular format. That's fine. But at the same time, everyone expects mature content. So like I hope that like I wish they would go back on their order to say no more nudity. You know, it's like you're limiting your artist, even though you can be as edgy as you want. Yeah, that might be ridiculous or whatever. But even though it's like let them be ridiculous, let everyone go as much as they want to. You know, it's a whole other creative aspect to the side. I censor shit.
Right. Now, I agree with that, but do you think that maybe DC dropped the ball here? This is something else that I heard. Do you think that maybe they dropped the ball with maybe they could have polybagged it? I mean, this is sitting along right next side to other books and stuff. I'm not saying put it behind the counter with the cigarettes, but, you know, like, do you think that maybe that probably would have lightened – it should have been a more of DC should have been a little more responsible with that, or do you think that's like, no, it's not a big deal?
I kind of feel like DC knows exactly what they're doing at this point. If they really were worried about more and more sales, they just reprint the thing, throw it out there. I think they're going to want people that they're kind of catching on that everybody is about, like, your biggest sales are in spec sales anymore, it seems like. So I guarantee you most everybody's going to around and get issue 2 now. They're going to buy that up. They're going to buy it up more than probably issue 1. And then issue 3 will do the same thing. And whatever is the next DC Black Label #1, you better believe that's going to be 130, 140,000 print run. Everybody's going to go over that. I think DC, and then not to mention the hardcover whenever that comes out, even though apparently it won't have Bat Dick in it or whatever, but everybody's going to be buying all the Black Label stuff up, I think.
Well, it was funny too. It was interesting that you know, like Larry said, I'm working at a shop, and you know, Batman the Dam sold out everywhere, and people are like trying to scramble and get it online. But Diamond still was in possession of Dynamic Forces copies.
So here comes the real problem with this, and I've had a lot of conversations about this. My name's Spokane Joe. And my problem is, are we doing something for the shock value, or are we trying to raise value in comic books? The truth is, at the end of the day, okay, so the next issue that comes out are a bunch of boobies going to come out.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Well, okay. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I brought up the fact that, hey, if that was a woman, the cry would be sexualization, not done in taste. You know what I mean? Oh, you show Batgirl's breasts. How dare you? That's always been my kind of take on it. But well, Mike, come over here and say your piece.
It's not an issue of nudity.
Come over here. They can't hear you.
Well, they don't.
All right.
My article's on.
Legend, what do you think?
I think you're right, Larry. I think if they do come out with the female that's nudity and stuff like that, I think, you know, everyone's going to get on Twitter, you know, the OLP, we know them SJWs well, and I think there's going to be yelling going on, man. I tell you, I think, Pope Grimey, what do you think about, are you ready to see some of these ladies?
Shark tits.
Midgets.
I do have something that I find interesting, though, because DC already has Vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and Vertigo has been out for eons, you know? And that's where they usually put their mature content. Like, that's why we got, like, heavy content with, like, Hellblazer, like Lucifer, Sandman, and, like, so why all of a sudden do we need, like, this black label? I mean, it's cool or whatever, but, I mean, it's just, like, why? I don't understand the big stink about, like, you know, the Batwing when you already have Vertigo that's already on the stands next to all these other books. You know, I was going off what GPAP is saying because, you know, that Prestige. Yeah, the Batman Damned was right next to, you know, like the My Little Pony.
Yeah. It's, you know, and it's not to take away from the book. It's a great looking book, great art, and I haven't had a chance to read it. I'm sure it's a great story, but I think that they kind of dropped the ball there with maybe polybagging it. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it through dad eyes, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there was like, I mean, then why not just polybag everything that Vertigo pops out? Because it says mature content on it.
Well, Virgo has definitely a more mature content, and they're definitely aiming at an older audience, but they're still not getting that mature rating. Like, they're not whipping out dongs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're still keeping it PG-13. So they're just delivering a more, what I think is more, intended for an older audience. This one is intended for a older perverted audience. I don't know. Yeah. But it was a great book, and it was a super move. It was a super move by DC. I, as a Marvel fan, I have to totally applaud them for what they did, because they created a super controversy, canceled out the return of Wolverine. You know, some would argue, but they nice move. So
Hey, y'all, this is Daniel from Real Comic Book Talk. I got a little bit of an opinion. You just mentioned how they canceled Wolverine, and Marvel is trying to make a little bit of a... All I know is X-Men is on the rise. X-Men is coming back, and it's going to be awesome and everything. Give it about a year, and we're all going to be back into X-Men like we were back in 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. And it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love this. I'm not a Marvel fanboy, but I just see the future.
You're not a Marvel fanboy?
I'm not.
No one would love to see X-Men back to the glory days of Chris Claremont more than I would. As far as the Batwing goes, we did cover that in length last week.
It sounded like Booker T.
But is there anyone else on the panel that wants to weigh in on that before we move to a different subject? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I think we should bury the Batwing and call it good.
Yeah.
Call it good? Okay.
I got one comment from Biggie's Comics, man. Biggie's Comics, home of the New York Warriors. He guest starred last night on All About Comics, Comics and Cold Ones, along with JP and Pope Grammy. He says the black label is just to get people to buy books. But you know what, Biggs? Exactly right. DC had that gimmick, but what did everyone in our comic book community do? They went out and bought that book, so it worked. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to say that I'm an equal opportunity nudist. Tits, dicks, or chicks with dicks. It's cool. Put it in comics.
There you have it. Equal opportunity. We love it all. Bueller, you were the first one to pick the week, and you showed that DC book. The very morbid one, the one that Bueller has alluded to with some death in it. This book is starting to pick up some notice too, because this is a darker trend than DC's ever traveled down before. And the whole point is to show that being a hero really isn't all that it's cracked up to be. There's a dark side, there's a violent side, and here's what it can do to you. And we show some deaths of what I would consider, honestly, some B-rated characters happening. But I'm sure some major ones might come up. Chat me up about this book. You read it, right?
Yeah, I read it, and I was kind of caught off guard, because like I said, I'm not like I don't read a lot of DC books, but this one looked interesting, and it does have a darker tone, and the fact it's almost like a soldier coming home from war and suffering from depression and stuff, like that. That's kind of the feeling you get with the superheroes and stuff, and all the stuff they've had to go through, and the tragedies and the highs and the lows, and it kind of jumps into the emotion of the characters and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that part. That's why it was really engaging. They have these panels to where there's certain characters, and they're like doing a talking head type thing, and they're talking into I don't know if they're talking to a person or some. I think it's a device, really, like a robotic counselor or something like that, and kind of telling their story. And you start to feel for the character because you kind of see their pain, what they're going through. And that's something I haven't really seen before in comics. So that's kind of what drew me to the book. And I really enjoyed it. So, and of course, like you said, there are some deaths that start off in the book right off the bat, and multiple ones after a while. And then I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think when this series is said and done, man, there might just be one guy standing.
Great Legend Show. What's your take, buddy?
Man, on that book, I like the fact that they're bringing Booster Gold, kind of giving him some love, because he's kind of a sporadic character throughout the DC universe. Of course, he's always time traveling and doing some crazy stuff. But I love the fact that he's in there. I like what Drew Manchu said. Harley's finally in a book that's good and it doesn't suck or whatnot. Because with this book, you're getting a serious kind of atmosphere with all these characters in it, and it's kind of I haven't seen a book like this in a long time, as far as really getting into some real heavy, in-depth stuff. It kind of reminds me of when they started the Marvel Age, you know, going over people's real life problems opposed to just, you know, saving the day and getting the cats out of the tree, you know. So I think the sky's the limit on this, but man, I tell you what, reading this thing is kind of like, you know, like y'all said, it's kind of depressing.
Pope, lay down the gospel, man.
So, hey, guys.
Oh, you gotta come off me, buddy.
Go ahead, talk.
All right, first of all, I want to give my respect to G Pat. You know what I'm saying? You're one of the great first comic book YouTubers, man. And all respect goes out to you, man. But if it wasn't for you, we probably wouldn't have the courage to be out here doing this right now.
That's cool, man. I appreciate it.
And also the great legend, man. Wow, it's for me, it's just nice being up here with legends. Talking comics with legends.
Well, thank you, Daniel, man. Y'all too, man. I got y'all so wait to watch more content from y'all's channel, man.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk about
y'all watch out for that. Watch out for that guy behind y'all getting frisky. That Drew over there, man. Don't let him get too close behind you.
You got somebody behind you getting frisky too.
Don't you worry about me, Legend.
What?
Don't you worry about me.
Drew, you can come get Sailor over here, my cat.
Oh, and Bueller. I didn't even see you over there. You know, my eyesight's not that good after the drinks. Bueller, my gosh, man. Just legends across the board, man. I never think I'd be right here right now.
Good looking out, man.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much.
Man, high praise going out to Summers tonight, man. Guys, you know what? I want to be there in Baltimore, man. Maybe some year that's going to happen. Guys, you know, let's go to the Baltimore crowd for a second. What was it like today down there, guys? You know, chat us up a little bit about today.
First of all, the first thing we always do is go to Artist Alley. That's like the #1 thing. My man Daniel over here he has like a group of people to do great commissions in his books. Just like fantastic. Me, I go to independent writers and I go broke real fast. That's the thing. But the cosplayers out here right now, they're really killing it. And you know, Saturday and the Sundays when they really come out full force because people ain't got to come from work. I can't wait for that.
So tomorrow we have a live interview with Garth Ennis scheduled with Drew, myself, and Comics Miss Explained. We also are doing a live skit. Well, not a skit. Interviews with cosplay chicks and Spider Grandpa. And it should be pretty. It should be pretty.
Did somebody say chicks?
Oh God!
What?
Hot chicks.
Well, let me ask you guys this: what was the best cosplay you've seen today?
That's Spider-Gwen. Did you guys see her? I mean, yeah.
I saw Raven. So Raven, I saw Bloodshot.
Oh, Bloodshot.
Yes.
Bloodshot was awesome. Bloodshot was awesome.
Dude worked out for that.
Yeah, I don't know if he worked out the cosplay or he cosplays to work out, but either way, he's in the gym.
Yeah. But he skipped leg day. He had shorts on. He's
the hardest day.
All right, we're going to touch back with him here in a second. Pope, tell us about the DC book, man.
Shut the fuck up, Larry.
Oh my God.
Are you guys like
Drew? Calm down there, Drew.
Yeah.
Calm down, boys. Calm down. We still got a show to do.
No, we just hang out and talk at bars. I'm going on mute, guys. It's getting a little crazy.
If this was NASA, we'd cut that fucking feed.
All right, Pope, lay it on us, brother.
This is how I feel about the Heroes in Crisis. Like, I'm a huge villain fan, and like I like when companies take a risk to that they're not afraid to kill off characters or go to the dark side. Because I mean, to me, I think that's what makes some of this stuff interesting. I think I've said it in one of the shows, but like, it's good and fine to have like good old happy Peter Parker swinging through New York. But every once in a while, I want my heroes to have legit danger in their lives. Like, I don't want somebody kidnapped my girlfriend. Like, I want somebody to like pile drive the hero into the dirt, and I want that hero to have to fight his way back up. You know, like if you're gonna have like big superpower, like that's why I love Darkseid a lot too, because like you know, for a long time Superman was riding that roller coaster of kicking everybody's ass. You know, then he got a little taste of the Omega Beam, and you know, just like with Sinestro, with my boy, you know, light him up, you know. That's all I got.
Dude, I think that's,
what do you got, brother?
awesome.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I plan on picking it up. I'm looking forward to it. So, you know, this is one that I had on my list to check out. So we'll definitely be reading this one this weekend.
JP, anything to add?
No, man.
G-Pop, are you back? No. C. Woodard, you're up.
All right. First off, Heroes in Crisis. I think this is the best Clayman art I've seen from him. At least the book is very beautiful. His Harley and Booster scenes, they're excellently drawn. But the book, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be on board for 9 issues of this. Like I said, this one's a little depressing. There's like just the off-panel deaths we got. I'm sure they will circle back to them because obviously between Booster and Harley, they don't want to spoil anything that's going on yet. I'd like to at least see what happened. So hopefully that's the next issue maybe, but I could see him dragging it out for a minute since it's 9 issues. But I don't know. So far, I didn't get the hook everybody else did, unfortunately. And I do agree with Legend. I'm extremely happy to see Booster Gold back in the limelight in a big way. But we'll see where his character's at after Heroes in Crisis, because we might not even get Booster after Heroes in Crisis at this rate. So we'll see.
Guys in Baltimore, man, Heroes in Crisis. What are your guys' thoughts?
So Heroes in Crisis was good because Harley Quinn was in it, and it didn't suck. No, we unmuted it. We're unmuted. Harley Quinn sucks, but she didn't suck in this, and it was pretty fucking awesome. And that's my take on Heroes in Crisis, and that's all I got.
And Tom King wanted to hang out tonight.
Tom King wanted to hang out with us.
His boss wouldn't let him.
His handler literally said, we do not allow him to go and do any live videos anymore because he swears way too much.
You wanted to. Yeah,
He was gonna be like Heroes in Crisis, motherfucker.
You wanted to hang out with him.
Oh my God. I think the best part of Heroes in Crisis, to me, is the best part of any story, is when you ground heroes to give them real world problems to make them closer to the people who read the comics. Once you do that, then people feel more connected to it. As soon as that happens, your story already jumps up like 2 or 3 notches.
100%, absolutely. Troy Hickman had a story that came out from Top Cow in 2004. It was called Common Grounds, and that's what it did. It almost inspired like writers like Mark Millar, who that real person approach, and the reader can associate with these godlike superheroes just a little bit. And I think it's a relevant story, and it's important. And whether it turns out to be awesome, I don't know. Whether they kill everybody off or it's a bloodbath, I don't know. But I think it's a pretty heavy story, and I think DC can handle it, and I think it'll be good. So.
Yeah, but like I guess like for people who haven't read it yet, like every issue they're gonna have they're going back to the dramatics of you have the death of Superman, and then you have I think they're gonna do I think they're doing Batman getting his back broke. And then they're doing
Kyle Rayner's in it, so I imagine they'll touch on Rayner's,
they are
girlfriend, yeah.
And then I think the last issue is going to involve Harley Quinn, but they're not really saying what that is.
Yeah, I mean they can't kill off another Robin, can they? Can they get away with that?
Well, actually, that's one of the things that they're going to bring up too.
Right? I mean, yeah. There's him in Star Trek, the red shirt guys. Poor Robin.
The good ones, yeah, the red shirts.
It's
Right.
Sorry, JP, I'm goner.
Yeah. Anybody else on Heroes in Crisis? No. Okay. Yeah. Down to the guys into the con. Who are we going to see?
Look at Pocan over there chilling.
Yeah. Who are we going to see? Like down there.
So tomorrow we got Garth Ennis. We've got a conversation with Peter Tomasi, Mark Wade, Chad Ciccone, and what was the lady's name that Jenny Frizen. Jay Frizen. Is that her name? Jenny Frizen?
Yeah.
And then who's the lady that I insulted? What? What's the lady that created Lobo? And I told her I hated him. So, quick story. I was talking to this girl, and I said I hated Lobo when they changed him into the Twilight Lobo, and I quote, "You're messing with me, right?" And I'm like, "No, he was terrible." She goes, "You know I created him, right?" I'm like, "I gotta go."
I got a question, Chad, real quick. Did you see Zachary Levi, man?
His plane was delayed, and he got in at 6. We have a conversation with him tomorrow at 11. At 11 o'clock.
Man, that's awesome. I can't wait for that Shazam book coming out in November, so I'm excited.
Excited about Shazam?
Yeah, man, I can't wait, man. That's
Yeah. When I saw the trailer for Shazam, right? The first thing I thought was like, this is the best imitation DC's doing to Marvel I've ever seen in my life. And literally everything about Marvel movies, like we're gonna make a DC version of it. The comic, I think it's still gonna be fantastic, but it's really Marvel wrapped up.
I know, man. They gotta follow the best in all their movies. They're doing great, man.
Well, speaking of that, we got another full release of the Dark Phoenix.
That trailer.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys saw the trailer. I saw it. I think it looks good for a Fox movie. I can't wait, honestly, though, for the MCU to have control of the X-Men once again, and make the X-Men, like, give the X-Men the Avengers sort of treatment, and make the X-Men look like X-Men. But I like the Phoenix trailer. I don't know if Sophie Turner fits Jean Grey. She might be a little young for the role, but I mean, I like the costumes. They're using the new X-Men costumes, so it looks really sharp. I got high hopes for the movie. What do you guys think? Bueller, maybe we'll start with you.
I thought it was pretty. It didn't spark me at all. I saw it, and for one, I didn't even know they were making the movie still. I thought it was shelved. I thought they just held off on it, and they're just going to put it aside. And then apparently they got pretty much a whole movie already done, ready to go. And but it didn't. I talked about this on my live stream. The Dark Phoenix saga is such a difficult storyline to cover. It's just it's hard to be doing just one movie, to be honest with you, because that story arc is massive. One gentleman pointed out that they covered the Dark Phoenix story arc in the X-Men animated series back in the 90s, and that was literally a season-long arc that they did for the comic book, or for the TV show. So I don't know if they can translate that into the movie, and I'm kind of done with the X-Men on Fox's side of the deal, and bring them on to Disney, and let's get the ball rolling.
Great Legend, how about you weigh in on that?
The X-Men, the new X-Men movie, I like those characters like Fassbender and I almost said Malkovich, or whatever. And I love that stuff. I think it'll be a good movie. I mean, it's no MCU, Disney, Marvel movie. That's for dang
Hey, brothers. The first guy, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I'm his name, but that Phoenix trailer looked like X-Men 3 all over again. it's about to go sideways. It's the entire story where Professor X is Professor X is the one who suppressed her powers and got her since childhood, and now she's angry again. It's X-Men 3 all over again.
Yeah.
We're going to see it because we're fans and we got to review it for our channel. But we're going matinee. I wish I could fire stick. We're going matinee. We're sneaking food in, and we're sneaking other people in with us. And Fox isn't getting all our money. Okay.
Daniel, I got some things to say about
I want to butthole. I want to butthole this. Don't cut. I want to butthole this. Come on.
Gentlemen, I have some things to say.
He just muted the mic. Check him out. He don't know what's going on.
You guys see them all on mute. No, I agree. I want it on the Marvel side of things. I want like a decent X-Men movie. You know, they compare it to X-Men 3, and it might just be that. Who knows? We're never going to know until we see it. But I know Drew is off mute now, so lay it on us.
All right, the X-Men Dark Phoenix trailer. It's terrible. It's terrible. What are they doing? Like, why? 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 Still in this movie.
She gonna go crazy, kill everyone at Fox.
Why aren't they in space already?
Can I talk now?
All right, so I totally disagree with everything he said. I think this is great. And the reason why I think this is great, and everybody's losing their minds right now, is that they have a problem telling this story. And let's be honest, it's a complicated story. It's extremely complicated. The great thing about the story is, let's show the story. And if we agree with it, because the truth is, when you read a comic book, or everybody who's a book, when you read a comic book, the great thing about it is you know imagination makes the movie. And then you expect the movie I would watch him to complement it. It doesn't work that way. This movie, he's not going to reach super deep. He's going to reach some super deep. And now everybody's like, oh, wow. Everybody knows that for you. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't make the comic book movie. It's fucking the way you want it. So, why don't we read Jesus Christ? Make 3 of it. Make 4 of it. I don't care. Make a Netflix series of it. I don't care. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be the best X-Men movie you have seen in a very long time. I promise. You gotta get in. On your true shit. So, who's next? On your true shit, Drew.
Yeah, you know. So
they're back on.
Classic.
Oh my God!
But there's lots of thoughts about this. You know, we become a society where we're very critical of everything we watch. I mean, we're a society where I've seen people complain that Miss Marvel didn't smile enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's come down to that sort of nitpicking with our movies, and you know, we watch these trailers and we analyze the fuck out of them, and you know, we get one opinion in our mind. We go see the movie; it can be a completely different thing. We just don't know until we see it, and you know, of course, we always have to judge for ourselves. I'm going to take another break, get a drink. G-Pap, you got the fort, my friend.
I literally have no topics for anything, so I'm here. Yeah, I have no idea. Lemon's the man of the show. I told him I'd be his Ed McMahon tonight, and now I'm Conan O'Brien. So.
You know, old JP hadn't said very much. JP, weren't you supposed to bring a lady along with you?
I don't know what you're talking about, brother. There ain't no ladies in my life.
Let me tell you about that X-Men, man. Let me tell you, my dad is a huge fan, and he loves Wolverine. Like, you know, I'm the Fantastic Four guy. He's X-Men all the way, but I'm the cool thing is my dad, you know, 71, be 70. Well, maybe he is 70. I don't know, he's up there, man, but he still pays for the movies. So, you know, regardless, I just go in there with an open mind. I don't really, I I'm not critical over movies or anything. Like Muscle Man suit on. I was, everyone was bashing it and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? I love me some Shazam, and that costume, sitting image of the Justice League War animated cartoon costume. And once they put some CGI and some lightning into it, I mean, it'll look really good. But if you some of you out there, you look at these pictures because social media will always find pictures, say of the Joker, of the Joaquin Phoenix. But if you give the movie a chance and you go in there with an open mind, you may actually enjoy it. So that's one thing. Just try to look for the positives. These early release pictures that suck to all in, but just wait for that finished product, before you make a final judgment call.
Well, thinking back on the Marvel, Fox Marvel, Fox X-Men, whatever you want to call it, they have a thing where they have a pattern. For every good one they make a terrible one. They made X-Men 2, then they came back to X-Men The Last Stand. We're not going to count the Wolverine movies, we're between good X-Men movies. And now it came out with their good movies. And now this X-Men Dark Phoenix seems like a remake of the X-Men Last Stand with Sarah Crawford. It's like the DCEU version of X-Men 3.
I'm with you, man. It's like with Logan. Logan was so freaking good, man. It was like a new school Clint Eastwood movie, and man, they just did that movie so good. And then we're gonna see what old Gene see if Gene can pull it out of the hat again. Hey, but one Marvel movie, I don't know if it was categorized under the Marvel print, but man, nothing beats Howard the Duck. That movie sucked. Remember Howard the Duck?
Hey guys, I gotta step away for just a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right.
All right. His Neff's probably playing some of that Fortnite.
Fortnite, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that chat the guy's mics might have unplugged.
Yeah, I don't know. It was hard to hear them. Guys, if you can speak a little closer to the mic, because there's a lot of noise your way.
You can hear me now?
No, we can barely hear you, man. Hey, Jack, can you check on your mic settings and make sure everything's plugged in and stuff on your end?
Can you hear me now?
Barely, brother. We barely hear you.
All right, hey, come back.
All right, so they're going to look after things on their end, so we can actually hear them and hear what they got to say. Interesting, time down there. Because I really want to talk to these guys. I want to know what's happening there tomorrow. I want to know some of the big names that these guys are going to see. Some of the books that they're going to buy, some of the signatures they're going to get. I've never been to a con that large before. Have you guys been to like a con like the size of a Baltimore Comic Con where you just have that many legends and cool people there? How do you handle it all? Like Seawood, I know you go to cons, man. Pope, I know you go to cons. Seawood, chat me up about a con that large.
Yeah, probably the biggest one I go to is C2E2. And Wizard World Chicago used to be pretty big too, but C2E2 is getting really massive year after year. And it's just, you got to plan in advance if you want to try to get all the stuff done you want. Like basically like the Friday I went this last year, I just had to focus on like meeting artists and writers that I wanted to meet. And then Saturday, because now it's like I said, we're a big YouTube community. And I know everyone's talking about meeting up at C2E2 next year. So it's like you almost got to dedicate a day just for trying to meet everybody at this crazy point. And not to mention, your friends outside of the community who also go to that con. So it's just, you got to try to plan as much as possible in advance now just to really get the most out of cons.
My biggest con, I've been
I'm gonna sign up.
Hey, Chad, I'm not sure if anyone's catching what you're saying. Guys, are you hearing Chad on the panel at all?
Maybe turn the microphone around. Are you talking in the wrong end? Yeah, sometimes, man. You got to be easy on those big crowds out there.
No, early when we first started, they sounded great. Yeah, but something happened along the way where we're kind of barely hearing them now, which is a shame because they're kind of the stars of the show right now. I want to know all about Baltimore, but Legend, somehow, some way, we got to salvage this, man. Any topics on your mind you want to bring up? Lay some truth on me, brother.
It's not really comic related, but it's in pop culture. Is that Stan and Ollie trailer, man? They dropped the Stan and Ollie trailer like a week ago, and I did a little trailer review of it. I hadn't seen anyone in the comic community talk about it. If y'all don't know Stan and Ollie, y'all may know the names Laurel and Hardy. And if y'all haven't seen this trailer, man, it's Steve Coogan as Stanley Laurel and Oliver Hardy's played by John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly put a lot of weight on for this movie. I mean, this looks like it's going to win some Academy Awards. So if y'all are old school black and white fans, especially big fans of the Hal Roach studios of the 1920s with Our Gang, a.k.a. Little Rascals and Laurel and Hardy, man, you're definitely going to want to check that trailer out. But as far as comic books go, nothing came out this week that I was interested in. I always get those sneak peeks that Bueller puts out, and I'll write down anything I need to get that I may have not pre-ordered. But yeah, comics have been kind of slow. But that's all right because we the Comic Co. Yeah.
Pope, what's up, brother?
Oh, nothing, man. I was just gonna comment about the whole movie situation. Like when we're all comic book fans, and so I think, and this is something I had to learn for myself. Like when I go to see a movie, like let's say the X-Men, we already are caught up on all the characters. Like we already know all the stories. Like with the Dark Phoenix, we know the story of the Dark Phoenix. But we have to understand when we go to see a movie is that it's not just for the comic book fans. They need to draw in people who just want to go see a really cool movie. So if someone who doesn't know anything about the Dark Phoenix wants to go see this X-Men movie, they need to see a movie where they can understand everything that's going on in the film and not have to know all this other knowledge that we have as comic book fans. Of course there's Easter eggs and stuff for us, but I mean, they need to know that they just want to go and be entertained and watch a movie. And it's very difficult to take something so big and cram it within 2 hours, So I mean, as a comic book fan, I just have to go watch a movie and just appreciate it for what it is. And if it ends up being super awesome, then that's a plus,
Yeah, it's hard to take a legacy that's spanned it for years and try and cram it into a 2-hour show, man. Absolutely. Unlikely they're going to follow the original path of the Phoenix, of course. I mean, that's just too much info. I mean, you got to include the Starjammers in that. You got to go to the Blue Moon. You got to do the whole thing. And there's no way in hell that's happening. So it's going to be a new take on an old story for sure. This is why I kind of want it to be over with Marvel, because I think Marvel would, not necessarily stick true to the original storyline, but they would be more closer to it, one would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a perfect example, because one of my favorite storylines of all time is the Infinity Gauntlet. And for the longest time, I was like, man, it would be awesome if this could be somehow filmed. But in my head, I'm like, it involves like every single character in Marvel. I was like, there's no way they could do it. And then when I found that the Avengers was going to be shifting to doing the Infinity War Gauntlet thing, I was just like, how in the hell are they going to do that? And like, not, I mean, just how in the hell are they going to do that? But to be honest with you, I think they played it out perfectly. From the very get-go, they were hiding the Infinity Gems and all these things, and all in movies that we've already seen, like in the Captain America movie, there was an Infinity Gem. Like Loki had the Infinity Gem. And I have to say, as being like with the Infinity Gauntlet being like one of my all-time favorite storylines, I have to say that they did an excellent job and are doing an excellent job with the Infinity Gauntlet story. So I'm with you on that. I think once good old Disney gets their hands on the X-Men and Fantastic Four, we're gonna finally have some decent movies.
Oh man, I can't wait for a good Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I know, Legend. You must be excited about that. But Legend, I got another question for you. What's going on in the chat?
The chat, man, is still hopping in here. We got love, man. We got Joker M21 from the New York Warriors. Also, LP, one of your #1 fans from the NYC. And I'm talking about the mayor, Jeff Johnson. A name you can trust. Oh, and guess what? One of my faves is in the chat. Who Dat Comics and Movies tag teaming inside the chat with his boy Jason Smith. And you got to love my main man here, Easy, the Game Hunter. Man, I love this guy. He loves comics, games. He's wrestling. He's a professional wrestler. One of the best, man. One of the best. Of course, the lovely Miss Hustle. Miss Hustle, if you're out there watching this right now, you take my breath away.
She is the Canadian Cleopatra. I think the Vinny C is definitely in love with Miss Hustle. So the rumor goes. Let me ask you this. There was someone that brought up in the chat prices of signatures at conventions, and he said that I don't pay any more than $20 per signature, or I haven't paid any more than $20 per signature. And I think he's referring back into the 90s. I can tell you this. I've never paid $1 for any signature at the cons that come around here. They just don't charge anything. Signatures are free, usually anywhere around here. It'd be weird to me to go meet someone like a comic book creator and them say, yeah, that's $40 for a signature. What is too much, guys? Like, have you guys paid for signatures? And what was maybe, what's your limit? What's the most you ever paid for, a book to be signed?
I'll tell you one of mine. I would get some signatures from people like Don Rosa, the guy that did Scrooge McDuck and Donald Duck comics and stuff. I did. He charged. I want to say he charged like $25, but you got to choose, or maybe I can't remember his prices, but I bought reprints from him, and I just had him sign the prints. But he did sign his comic books and his hardcovers and stuff. And then there was also when the Marvel Zombies were really hot, and I love the covers of the Marvel Zombies. Old Arthur Sudan, man, he does some great zombie art covers. He was charging like, I want to say, for like 5 books, but you also, the $15 bought you like a print, and that was pretty cool. Where if you do pay for some SIGs, they give you something, opposed to say like maybe like a Neil Adams or Stan Lee that charge what, I don't know what they charge, but like more expensive on the expensive side. At least Don Rosa and Sudan were giving me some print and stuff.
I got to correct myself. I have lied. I did pay for a signature. Stan Lee, and it was like expensive as hell. I can't believe I forgot about Stan. That was like $125 by the time it was all said and done. But definitely bucket list item for me. We're talking about Godfather of Marvel Comics. Bueller, how about you? Have you ever paid for signatures? And if so, like what was your limit? Like who did you see that you thought was like, top tier, had to get books signed and you didn't mind paying for it?
Well, I kind of, You know, you asked this earlier, and I was thinking about it back then, so I'm glad we're back around to it. I understand the fact where some artists or writers would charge for a signature to detour people coming in with piles of books to get autographed. I've sat in the line, and unfortunately, I missed out. I remember this is a few years back, and Chris Claremont was at a show, and he was not charging for signatures whatsoever. And there was literally a guy that had a suitcase full of books, probably around 200 books, and Claremont signed every one of them, and that's ridiculous. So I think that the artist or writer should charge for a signature, and $5 to $10, and also have a donation jar as well. I think that goes a long way, because I think the appreciation that we have for some of these creators is way more than $5 or $10. To be honest with you, I would have no problem dropping a couple extra bucks in a donation jar to one of my favorite writers or creators. And as far as too much goes, it definitely weighs depending on the creator itself. Obviously, like you said, Stan Lee is going to cost an arm and a leg. I've never had a book signed by him, and honestly, I don't think the most I've ever spent on the signature maybe $5. And that's I only have a few signature books, but I wouldn't spend more than there's only a couple maybe exceptions that you might want to spend. Steranko, I know he charges for signatures quite a bit. Neil Adams, I think he charges quite a bit. I might be thinking of someone else. And then obviously Stan Lee. Everyone else is around the $10 or $5 mark if they charge at all. And as long as they don't get too out of hand, you get all these creators, they're charging $30, $40 for signature. I think a few dollars is just fine.
Pope, I throw the question to you, good sir.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same wavelength with Bueller. I mean, I think the most I've ever paid is probably maybe $5 for a signature. But I mean, it's one of those things where most signatures I got were free. Like Ming Doyle, Annie Wu. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of them. I mean, it's just and a lot of these artists, like Jenny Frison, she signed my books for free. But the thing was, that I was able to buy prints. I was able to buy their merchandise because of them giving me free signatures. And I think the most I've spent on signatures as far as comic book artists was Greg Capullo. But what Greg Capullo did was he would sign 2 books for free, and then any book after that I think was $5 each.
I like that.
That's way more than fair. And but I mean, I can't lie. I've walked past Neil Adams' table, just looking at him, and I'm just nah, that ain't gonna happen, buddy.
I did the same thing, man. I had the book that he did with Mr. T, and I had its autographed by Mr. T, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get this autographed by Neil Adams as well. And I walked by his booth and said $50. I said, nope, this book, I ain't wasting $50 on this $1 book.
Well, I had that. I got that Green Lantern Sinestro cover, and that Neil Adams did, and I just kept pacing back and forth with that thing in my hand. I'm yeah. Ain't gonna happen. I just couldn't do it.
GPAP, any comments on that sort of thing? I know there isn't too many conventions your way, and you're not probably paying for anything down there, signature wise. But just thoughts and comments on maybe some of these legendary figures charging more and more for signatures. Look at Rob Liefeld for an example. You know what I mean? Charging more for say signing a a New Mutants 98 than say a Young Blood #1 sort of vibe, because they know that it may go up for sale or to get slabbed, and that whole situation, that same old situation we always seem to kind of circle back to. Thoughts and opinions here, bro.
Well, you got to remember that these creators now who are doing this, whether it's Adam Hughes, Liefeld, Azzarello more recently, these guys were all going around the cons the same time that Herb Trimpe was signing. And they remember, too, the guys who would come up with a hand cart full of comic books and eat up this creator's time. And I remember seeing the video online and people just shaking their head, and this guy, book after book after book of Trimpy right before he passed away. This is not what these beloved creators would be doing. I don't even know how to really express it, but there should be some courtesy back and forth. It's we as fans are so easy to be flippant to these artists who we don't even know their intentions. I heard that Azzarello needs the money. He doesn't need more money. It was like, you have no idea if it's about that. He's probably doing it for the exact same reason that he wants to see this kid who comes up to him, and so that this person gets a chance and that person gets a chance, because it doesn't matter. Because if that was the case, all his books would be $50, or his fee to show up to the con itself would be enormous, or whatever. I think social media has allowed us to really take advantage of our accessibility to these creators, and it kind of, you get spoiled. You get spoiled with these cons. Me, I have not been to a con. I got to give a big shout out to New York Warriors and CeeLos. Those guys have always hooked me up with a ton of signatures whenever they can. It was awesome. But I think that as far as price-wise, like I said before, a creator can charge whatever they like to. It's up to you as a fan. If $50 is too much for you, for your pocket, for your wallet, that's understandable. That's understandable. But it doesn't change the fact that that's what that creator is charging at this point in their career, or what have you. And if it is a one-off book, like where you got Liefeld, who's doing the New Mutants 98, more for the 87, and so on, there's probably a good reason there. I don't think Rob needs our money that bad. I don't think Azzarello needs our money that bad where he's going to try and capitalize on it, even though it may be apparent or seem that way. I think that's downplaying our if these are in fact our favorite artists and things like that, and we want that signature, then we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss them because of charging that. If that upsets you, get another book signed. Get another book signed. It doesn't matter. You're a fan of that creator, aren't you? So don't worry too much about it. But then it comes down to also, if in fact it is about them making some extra scratch and more money and stuff like that, well, to be fair, why should the buck stop there? I mean, the people buying the books can profit off it. The people selling the books can profit off it. But then it stops at the creators? Maybe not. It's a different way of looking at it. It's very easy to look at it. When we're talking about money, it's very easy to dismiss something. But it may look like one thing, and maybe another. So maybe not shit all over our heroes and our people who deserve a little more respect than that.
Seawood, you haven't weighed in on this yet, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of thinking about listening to everyone else talk. I think it just comes down to escalation. That's the word I use for it. All these comic creators, they go to these cons, which there's more than ever before these years. They see these celebrities. They've gone up over the years, too. I think you got, Zachary Levi now, for instance, probably charging $100 this weekend. So, it's completely understandable. Some of these artists are having to pay for their artist alley table. And, we're a draw, too. We want a little bit of piece of that pie. On top of that, I mean, not to mention the rise of eBay in the 2000s, thus everything going up in terms of signatures. But, I mean, you just got all these other factors, too. So, sure, I don't mind paying $5 for a couple SIGs. Like the last one I think I paid for was Mike Zeck at Cincinnati Comic Expo, which is fine. They're actually I call it the hustle they were really good at. Basically, you buy a couple SIGs from them, but hey, you get this raffle ticket. You can come back and either have a chance to win a free print, or you can just buy a print for $5. So for basically $25, I got 4 signatures and a print. I thought that was a good enough deal. And then I've dealt with people like, I think Denny O'Neill's the one that came to mind. He's like, well, I'm going to do 3 signatures for free. And after that, he had a Hero Initiative donation jar. So I thought, that not only cuts down the line efficiency, it gives to a good cause. But then you also have people like, I think it's called Comic Sketch Art. They're sponsoring a lot of writers and artists now. I think they're actually sponsoring Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo to go to a lot of cons. And that's the reason they get most of the money when they charge for the signatures, but then obviously the writer and the artist get a cut of that. So there's a lot of new factors It kind of risen up over the last decade. The reason some of these people are kind of having to charge and why people think they should charge. So, unfortunately, it's just all about the money.
I'm glad you brought up the Heroes Initiative because that is such an important cause. I remember hearing about the Heroes Initiative when I went to a con in Calgary, and I asked, to get a signature, and the writer said, you know what, I'll sign anything just to make a donation to the Heroes Initiative. And I said, well, what is that? And he explained to me that the Heroes Initiative is essentially a crowdfunding sort of thing where they collect funds for creators who might be down on their luck, facing huge medical bills and that sort of thing. And the Heroes Initiative is used to help them out. So guys, if you're around Baltimore or any other con and you see a Heroes Initiative jar, throw in a few bucks in there to help them out. Guys in Baltimore, are you still with us?
No, they're not.
Hey, LP, can I get a quick word in about the Hero Initiative?
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Hey, we were talking about Herb Trimpe earlier, and he had this big boom after a while. People, once again, right, the Falk 180 caused a lot of that, I think. But before, there's this guy in the 2000s. That guy, and he is having a lot of trouble just living, and that's the reason the Hero Initiative was created for creators like that. Unfortunately, the last people around. It's a great cause, to say the least.
Cheers to the boys down in Baltimore. We see them again. Guys, man. Chad looks like he's still working on the audio. He's like unplugging it or something. Maybe you give it a test there.
You hear us?
A little bit better. Yeah, man. How's it going? Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, no, you're still low, brother. Shit.
Well, I was trying to keep the room off the air.
You know what you can do to that microphone? You can put like both your hands around the microphone's globe because it's got that 360 dimensional sound. So yeah, cover that up and try to talk into it.
I feel like a rapper right now. How is you fucking shit? Guys.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're sounding good, man, and you looks like you are having a lot of fun. How about Snotty Grandpa over there? Did you buy any Funkos, Mike?
Glad we miss you guys. We wish you guys were all here. We want to hang out with you guys.
Michael Person says they need to plug their microphone.
That's right, man. I think he did buy some Funkos tonight. Amen to that. How about you, Bueller? What have you been doing?
Oh, you're just having some fun there, aren't you, Legend?
This is awesome.
Having some fun at my expense.
Oh man. Well, Bueller, you had like all these folks on your channel, and man, some of them came over here and they enjoyed the show. And if you're out there right now and you're coming from the Comics with Bueller, thanks for stopping by the Comic Court, because you get Comics with Bueller every Friday night, not just once. You get him twice, and that's just so nice. Comics with Bueller.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight. Having doing that live stream, and I was surprised. My last one I did, I had I think about 50 people, and that was last Friday. And this night we had 80 people. Actually, I think we almost hit 90 at one point. And that was, and it was a blast, let's to say the least, and it's kind of a rush, to get that many people going and everybody jumping in the chat. There's a lot of names I see that kind of watch my stuff that you don't see very often. So names you don't, the community is strong, and there's a lot of people that do, and we stick together, and we're always there for each other. And then there's all these people outside that are looking in from the outside, and it's nice to see them as well. I enjoy interacting with them and getting their opinions, because not everybody's thing is doing YouTube videos, but that doesn't mean they don't like comics, man, because that's a popular hobby, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
One thing that old Emperor Palpatine said, he said, the community is strong with this one.
Is that what he said? That's not
I
what he
think I
said.
saw that one.
Yeah, the community is strong with this one.
Hey, not in my reality. LP, what you got?
Well, actually, I got my friend Jennifer sitting here. She doesn't want to be on camera, so I got it on the chibi. But she has a question or a comment she wants to make about signing books, and she's relatively new to the comic book world because her boyfriend is writing articles, and she knows it about through me. So I call her kind of like the Penny, from Big Bang Theory, the Penny of the group here. So Penny, why don't you come over here? You gotta get closer, and then ask or say what it is that you want to say.
Okay. So I've been listening to you guys chat here, and I'm just wondering.
Hi, Penny.
Hi. If you're going to go stand in line for maybe hours to try and get a signature from someone, doesn't that hold value to you, or why would you be in the line, right? So if you're saying, I don't want to pay for a signature, or I think $50 or whatever is too much, why stand in line? Why waste your time? It obviously holds a value.
Yeah.
What's that value?
So is it resale value? Is it sentimental value? Like, what does that break down to, guys?
Yeah, I think
Neil Adams didn't have a line.
Yeah.
He just kept mean bugging me every time I walked by with that damn Sinestro cover in my hand.
Well, Neil Adams is kind of like why buy the cow when you get the milk for free situation. So he's everywhere. He's out in my backyard right now. He's just hanging out.
It's like a lemonade stand no one wants to go to.
No, but she makes an excellent point. It's exactly that. Like, I think people's anger comes from their lack of possibly increasing their portfolio of how much it's worth and how much money they can make. And when you mess with somebody's money, you're messing with them. So I think that's where you'll hear the most of the complaints from.
Well, I think the biggest thing is like some of it is not the money. Like if you're standing in the long line, and it's kind of funny because it's the same reason why these people are charging like $40-50 is because time is valuable, and you're at a con. You don't want to stand in line for an hour and a half, and so it's basically because you want to go see other artists. You want to go, look at other stands. You want to jump in the dollar bins, and I think we live in a world where like everything is fast and easy. We have like technology is booming, so we're so used to everything being so fast that when you actually have to like stand in line for more than 15 minutes, like you don't know what to do.
So Penny, I hear what you're saying, and I want to comment on that. So your feeling is if you're willing to stand in line, then you should be willing to pay for a signature. Is that kind of where you're coming from?
Not exactly. I'm just saying, obviously, the signature holds some sort of value to you.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it hold value to a creator, right? Like, I work in a law firm, so I'm a paralegal. I take documents to lawyers every day, and they're signing. Your hand gets cramped, and that's why they charge the price they do to sign documents for people. Is because it's valuable, and it takes away from their time to do other things. So as an artist, I mean, obviously you're not making, maybe some are making more or less, whatever, than let's say a lawyer would make, but it's still your time. You're still having to sit there. I think if you're an established person, or maybe you can charge a little bit more because obviously people want your stuff because you're more well known. For people that are starting out, I agree with, I don't know his name, but where you're doing 2 or 3 books for free and then you're charging after that, I think that's more than fair, because the other people that are standing behind you in line, like you're on the screen right now, but a suitcase full of books is just crazy to me. Like, there's no way I would sit there and sign that many for just one person.
Well, and you know where those books are going to. They're going up for sale, right? So the real fan is not kind of getting them. You know what I mean? You guys think that creators, especially if they're popular enough, should have a limit on the amount of books you sign. When I met Todd McFarlane, he was signed 2 books for free, and that was it. Some creators do 5. Some creators do 3, and some creators will charge you extra for each book you want after a certain amount. So that's one question. The other question I want to throw out to you guys and into the chat as well is, are signatures valuable anymore? Like 25, 20 years ago, if you got a signature, you know, to me that was a big deal. You know, I got my book signed. This is awesome. But now with the explosion of conventions that we have seamlessly almost every weekend, having a signed book to me doesn't seem as special as it used to be, and I don't think they enhance the value of a book too much. I mean, they might do it by 10, 20 bucks depending on who it is, and if it's a, you know, a legendary creator, even more. But, you know, do signed books, you know, hold value? Is a book worth more if it's signed to you or not? And I don't mean just monetary value, but also sentimental value. Legend, let's start with you.
Yeah, I have some signed books, and most of them are all raw. You know, I don't have them slabbed, and I never have any intention of selling those. Like, I love Jimmy Palmiotti's writing on this Jonah Hex stuff. It's freaking awesome. I've got a lot of Art Adams books signed in my Fantastic Four run. I love his artwork. I guess it really all depends on of course the buyer, the person buying the books. Like Penny said, or is this person buying them for the you know, getting these signatures for the sentimental value because you really love the creator's work, or you just getting a crap ton of signatures to go ahead and flip them on eBay? And then with that in mind, it's all, you know, it's totally to that seller, aka that guy that's, you know, signing the books for you. You know, that person selling his signature on your book, and you know, you gotta, you know, he could pretty much do what he wants to do, especially, you know, for those books that you see, of course, you know, with this whole current generation, man. I may just be, you know, an old G1, you know, miser or old geezer when I say this, but I mean, like, a lot of this current comic book community on YouTube, and most likely all the people that collect comics out there that go to the shop every Wednesday, I mean, they're, you know, they buy these like new books, oh, because there's a movie. So Deadpool's in the movies, let's go ahead and get that they could have got like years ago in like a freaking $2 or $3. Well, actually, yeah, probably $1 bin, you know, just telling the truth like it is. But, you know, so Rob Liefeld, hell yeah, charge a damn $100 to get that dumb book signed. You know, that Deadpool sucked. Deadpool sucked in there, and he didn't get good until that other guy started breaking the fourth wall with him.
Now, Bueller, I know you got to go
One
soon.
more thing, LP. One more thing. He was a damn Deathstroke ripoff and a crappy boot.
There you go. Legends truth right there. Bueller, I know you got to head out soon, but if you want to give your last, you know, some shout outs and anything you want to say, and maybe your take on signature books, lay it down on us.
Well, let me jump on the signature a little bit. So when I talked to Bagley a couple weeks ago, he was doing a great thing, and I love this. He would sign the first book for free, and he would sign as many books as you wanted, but he would personalize them to the person. And I thought that was great. But any other books that just was his signature, he said it's $5. So it's like, I thought that was a great alternative, you know, because he can make some money. He weeds out the people that are there just to flip the book for a profit, you know, the guys with the suitcase full of books. But I think that's a great avenue to go for the signatures. Now, like you said, I do got to go. My kid just got home, and I got to make him some dinner, and I'm hungry too. But this was a lot of fun, you guys. It's been a great week here for the channel, for my channel. We picked up 175 subscribers this week, which is just fantastic. We're almost at 2,000. We'll probably be at 2,000 subscribers by next week if it keeps going the way it is. And it's just nice to be a part of the Comic Con and hang out with you guys. And I'm glad we didn't spend too much time on the Bat Wiener, because I'm kind of over that. What are you doing there, Pope? What was it supposed to mean? But anyway, guys, this is a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the night, and I will catch you next time.
All right. Peace out.
Cheers, man.
I don't really want to focus on Baltimore, but with the audio issues, that's not happening. But man, I see in the corner, I'm watching these guys just partying and getting drinks and having a good time. To me, that's what going to a con is all about. Legend, when you go to a convention, what's on your mind? Is it signatures? Is it art commissions? Is it meeting people? Like, what's the big excitement for you, when you go to a con like that?
For me at a con, I love to meet other YouTubers and just interact with them and hang out with them if I can find them. Another thing I do, I just kind of like, I take everything slow. I normally don't go in with a plan. I mean, I know that's dumb and all, but I normally don't go in with a plan. I just go in there and, wherever I get taken, that's where I go. It's kind of like the side, my ride at the cons.
Pope Grimy, when you go to a con, what's on your mind, man?
The biggest thing on my mind is like I want to meet the writers and the artists. Like, I'm there for like when I get an artist signature or a writer signature, it's always going to be personalized to me. Like, like I don't flip, and I don't have anything against flippers. I get it, but I mean, like if I get shit signed, it's in my personal collection. It's if I get something slabbed, it's staying in my collection because I want to preserve, because it means a lot to me because I'm a big comic book fan and I just want to get in. I just want to have that interaction with with the artists and the writers, and drink beer.
and drink beer. Gene, your thoughts on everything, man?
I mean, as in relation to, creators charging what they want, I totally agree with that. I don't get a lot of cons here, so first thing I do is probably figure out how I got to New York. Right? But yeah, no, I'd love to go to a big con. I will someday. I don't believe it'll happen in Newfoundland, but someday I'll go to a con. I've hung out with a few YouTubers locally, but yeah, I'd love to go to the con and just mingle with everybody and just be in with my people type thing. You know what I mean? I would preferably like to go to one where there's the comics outweigh the movie celebrities and things like that. That would be more ideal for me. But with the big thing with the signatures too, whether it's too expensive, the lineup's too long, the lineup's not present at all. At the end of the day, if recently we've lost a lot of creators and stuff. You don't want to turn around and say that you didn't get that opportunity or I wish I had have done that. And so you really can't put a price on it. It's really about the experience and, that's what you're buying. This is why, you start seeing things in mass, on eBay and stuff. And it doesn't do anything for me. I would love to have Stan Lee's signature, but unfortunately I'm probably not going to be able to get it. But I absolutely can buy it. So it's not about want. I definitely want his signature. It's not about I don't want to worth a lot. It's about I would want to get it myself. There has to be that connection there with it and means something. One of my favorite, I have quite a few signed books. Some worth more than others. Some are multi-signed books, but my favorites are the ones I got from Don Perlin, and he said these are from his personal collection. I reached out to him and we were talking and we communicate back and forth, and he sent like a lovely letter with it and stuff. And I've actually gotten to like that experience in itself is amazing, and that's the best I can do in Newfoundland, of my location. I know there's a lot of people overseas, kind of walking down in New Zealand. Even in some locations in the United States, I know for sure that they're not con stricken, while it seems to be everywhere. And there's big ones and all these various ones. There's still a lot of places and a lot of comic fans in the United States and Canada who don't have accessibility. So it's not exclusively to me because I'm on an island, so it's definitely a luxury for the modern collector. Cons have been around, mid 70s, I would assume, early 70s, even definitely mid 70s. They're really starting to take off, and cosplay was really starting in the late 70s as well. And then it just got really rolling and really crazy, and now it's Now it's big bucks. So the cons have changed from what I've heard from people who attended cons back in the day, either early 2000s, early 90s, back drastically changed from what they used to be. And it wasn't even that long ago that it was a little more sacred to go, something a little more special to it and things like that. Now it's all like, what are you doing on the weekend? I'm going here. I'm going to this. I got my books lined up. I got this ready. I'm going to go here. And it sounds very like almost like you have to do it. You don't have to do it. Enjoy it. I mean, look at the guys, like I said, on the left over here. They look like they're having a great time. They're not too concerned about Azzarello's pricing. You know what I mean? They're not too concerned about. They're out there having a good time. They're going to have a great weekend, talking, hanging out with each other, talking to creators, going through the long boxes. Yeah, it's going to be a good time, and that I'm envious of. That's something that I think people, like I said, who don't have the accessibility, would love to have that opportunity. So, on is still.
C. Wood, man, what do you think? What's the big things for you when you go to cons?
LP, with me and you on this panel, I'm surprised no one's brought up commissions and original art yet.
Well, that was going to be the second thing I was going to talk about. But since you're bringing it up, go ahead, lay it on me.
Yeah, when I go to the very first thing I try to do, so if I'm going to like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday con, first thing I try to do is just try to figure out, like, number one, like, what's the biggest bang for my buck I can get for like original art, and how do I get it, basically. So if I just got this is the only one that was sitting next to me, so I just decided to show it. But I got a sketchbook going over there, as you guys probably already know. Usually before I go to a con, I'll try to map out, like, all right, I have followed this artist for years and years, can I afford something from him? If the answer is no, maybe I'll try to get, I have a lot of prints on my wall. Usually I like to try at least get something per artist I really like, rather be a print, an art book, or a best case scenario commissioned.
Can I see that Janet Van Dyne in the cat suit again? Yeah, baby. There she is.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's the thing for me. When I go to cons, the first things I do is look for artists I can get commissions from, because what's a better signature than an original piece of art from someone you really admire?
Exactly.
The most I've ever paid for a piece of art was $300 from Don Matig, but it was worth every cent. Now that's 300 Canadian, so that's probably like 250 American if you want to kind of do the rough math there. C. Wood, when you talk commissions, I know you're a guy like me that loves collecting original art. What is your favorite piece that you got, brother?
Oh man, like I said, here I'll be right back. Keep talking. I'll show it to you.
Guys in Baltimore, give us a big cheer, man. What's going on? Yeah, there we saw a thumbs up. There we go. Okay. There we go. So there is a back in our way, so we can't really see them too well, but we know they're having a good time.
Oh, yeah, got some good drink.
There we go. There's the boys.
You guys hear us at all?
A little bit, but barely, man.
So, I saw this
Hey, you know what, Chad? Someone tell Spider Grandpa to go bid on them He-Man Funkos on eBay.
I just wanted to reach out to you guys. I'm going to keep it on you. I love you guys. I love the chat. Sum us all up. And hopefully next week it'll be a different format. We're going to have a smaller panel. And we got some guests coming. I cannot wait. Our first guest that I'm trying to get is going to be for the great legend, for Larry.
I can't hear him. Is he ending the show? Is that what's going on?
I think he's ending it right now. Let's go to C. Wood real quick before the show cuts off.
Yeah, right? Because I couldn't hear him. C. Wood, show that again, brother.
Yeah, so I guess my favorite piece is this entire book. So I just showed the last one. I know I probably showed this one the last week or two. But I mean, Todd Grummett was one of my favorites growing up. He's the Superboy was the very first, comic I ever collected. So to have this piece in my book from him, I know he's probably drawn it 10 million times, but hey, if I'm 10 million one, that's great to me. And then right before that, I got a Ty Templeton, which I think we all like Batman the Animated Series when we were younger. So just, and I know he worked on the comic a lot. And like I said, he did this for under $100. And he's one of my favorite people to talk to at cons.
Colored too.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the, like, I always just look for the best bang for your buck. Ty Templeton, I think, is top. And then Legend, I'll show probably your favorite out of this book real quick. Well, besides the Barry Kitson, Reed Richards right there.
Oh, yeah, man, I love that.
For free back in the day. Yeah, I got this for free. I had to wait forever, but it was well worth it.
Not only is he a member of the Fantastic Four, he's also a member of Tully and Arn. Look at that, the Four Horsemen. Hold my fingers up.
Booster Gold. Hopefully he survives, man.
Oh, man, I hope so, dude.
Then I'll conclude with this one, the good old blue-eyed thing from Todd Knock. So
oh, Ben Grimm. There he is.
You go. I had to show the Ben Grimm for you, Legend, because I know you like that one.
I love Ben Grimm, man.
So, yeah, this is what I try to focus on when I go to cons. To answer the
Guys,
question.
I want to do a little giveaway. Anyone that's interested in having the first copy of my book, Niobe, guess a number out of 1 to 10. And if you guess it in the chat, I will mail this to you. You just have to give me your info. So if anyone is interested, start laying down some numbers now. While the guys give their final thoughts and shouts, because I do think we're winding this down. Legend, we're going to start with you.
Final thoughts and shout-outs. Make sure you watch the Great Legend Show next week on Saturday, October 6th. YouTube.com/the Great Legend Comic Cooking and the Truth. And also Sunday night, ending on Sunday night, if you go over to my Great Legend Show, bid on some Funko Masters of the Universe. And also next week, stay tuned for some Sea of Thieves for Sacred Shore.
All right. 8 is not the number, but keep going. Pope, final thoughts and shout-outs.
Final thoughts is I love this comic book community. Like this is, and I thank you guys for letting me be on the Comic Core. Freaking awesome. I hope you guys in Baltimore are having a fucking ball. It looks like you guys are having a ball. Tell Miss Explains I love his Twin Peaks t-shirt. Tell Drew to keep dancing on the pole. And thanks everybody for jumping in the chat. Thanks for having me. I love everybody on the panel from Legend to GPAP. You guys are awesome.
I love me some Pope Grimy, man. Any freaking son of Sinestro is a son of mine.
We have a winner. Stay Puff guessed the number 2. So get your info to me somehow through one of these guys, to me personally, and I'll send you out the book and maybe throw something extra in there for you as well. GPAP, final thoughts and shout outs.
Oh, thanks for having me on. It was cool. It's always good hanging out with you guys. Yeah, the guys are having an awesome time. I want to give a big shout out to Real Comic Talk. Go check out their channel. Making really good content. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks for having me on. And enjoy the con, guys.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for being here. C. Woodard, man, lay it on us.
All right, just want to thank you guys for having me again. Just thank everybody also for coming to my Tuesday live streams every week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It continues to grow and grow, just having a consistent time to go live. So I've been getting some very healthy views on that, especially for my tiny little channel in the corner of YouTube. So huge thank you for that. It means the world to me when you guys show up and comment and stuff. So I just want to have a big thanks for that. Other than that, just ready for another good week, I guess.
Epic. And I see that the Comic Core is there, the boys in Baltimore. I don't know if the audio is fixed, but man, guys, give us a big wave, give us a big cheers, man. I hope you guys have a great freaking show.
Hey, Larry, I hope you can hear us. We want to thank you guys.
I can hear you now. Oh my God, it's unreal.
Thank you for letting us hang out with you guys. We apologize for some of the drunken behavior. We look forward to next week's show. The new format's going to be kicking off. C. Wood, love you. I got to tell you one thing. Guess what?
What?
It doesn't matter what.
I'll give you that.
Hey, I'm happy you guys welcomed these new guys to the crew.
Yes, sir.
They love it. Everybody sub everybody up. With that being said, I'm going to peace out with everybody. Hope that Bueller's on the show with us next week with the special guest. It's going to be hot coming then the following week with none other than Dan Slott for Mr.
Perfect.
The Great Legend. So
that was perfect.
I've been practicing it all night. Literally practicing it for Rob. So with that being said, hey, peace, love, thank you. Good night from Baltimore.
Good night, guys. Have a great show, man. I look forward to hearing all about it next week. And because Chad has the one that started the hangout, he has to be the one to end it. Now, I don't know if he's doing an after party or not, but he has to be the one to end it.
We might be here for a while.
I know, right?
I guess I'll read Chad's script. Oh, we're still live? Oh, I thought I hit the button.
Well, I mean, as long as we're still live, Legend, give me the latest in the chat.
Yeah, man. They're all saying goodbye.
The chat died.
Of course, good to see you.
Good night, everyone.
Stay Puff, man. Congrats again. Stay Puff 83. Brett Hess. Who Dat Comics Movies. Jay freaking D. Joker M21 said sub to Jeep. And come on, is that a joke? Come on, man. But yeah, man. Jason Smith, forgot to give you some love. And make sure y'all subscribe to Real Comic Book Talk. We got the GPAP's got the link in there for y'all. So make sure y'all sub up. And man, Miss Hustle. Again, thank you so much for everything you do with the community. And, yeah, great show, everybody. Pocan Sam over there. Pocan Joe.
Pocan and Drew have been going at it for the past hour. So
I figure so, man. Drew's got to dance, man. Don't let Pocan in your ass, man.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the like button. So peace, love, and sub us up.
Sub us up.